I believe there's a difference between a quote unquote single mother who was somebody who came out of a marriage. There was some sort of divorce that took place. She genuinely was trying to make the relationship work, even if just for the sake of the children, and a baby mama single mother, right? Somebody who had children indiscriminately. They didn't have the children in the context of marriage or, in a committed relationship of sorts. And, the thing I've noticed is that the two groups are oftentimes conflated. Like when the conversation is had about single mothers, it's like they're the same people. So I want to separate the few who in this day and age just so happen to be the product of divorce, and they're still trying to make that stable, functional household for their children. They're not these men hating or, feminist, liberal minded individuals. They want what's best for the kids. They're not going to look to destroy the father for the sake of, her own ego in the children's eyes, but is doing their best. So them to the side. And the ones I want to put a spotlight on are those who are mostly irresponsible, but unfortunately are continuously egged on, not just within their own circles, which is one thing, but they're egged on by the grander society. They're egged on by, political systems, if you want to put it that way, stretching back as far as the 1960s and LBJ's Great Society, etc., the incentivizing of black women to rely upon big daddy or sugar daddy government and essentially do away with the man in the household. Right? Those single mothers have been celebrated, and I believe it is one of the most destructive things that has happened, because anything that is celebrated, anything that is normalized, that is pedestalized, not only is it, seen as the norm, but it is also aspired towards. If we put someone on a pedestal, it's like what happened with rappers. I mean, when I was coming up, I only wanted to be a rapper. I didn't understand that I could be doing what I do right now with my voice, because I was so fixated on this image of, oh man, but to be a rapper is the end all be all. That makes you cool. It makes you hip. It makes you this, that, and a third. And so that being said, I want to get into this video. I think that kind of demonstrates this point and where the mentality goes with individuals who are continuously fed this false narrative of, champion the single mother. Like it's something to aspire towards, as opposed to something that actually is a burden upon most women who are single mothers, right? It is a duty. It is heavy. So let's get into it.
Not ashamed of my 3 kids, and if I wouldn't have the 3 baby daddies, I wouldn't have my 3 amazing kids. But for me, you have to accept me as a whole with a 4 unit. So it's either, are you even equipped to hold down this 4 fort?
Fellas, this is what the simps and the soft males have done to our brand. They have made women everywhere believe that their vajayjay is so valuable that it is a privilege that we be allowed to come and take care of her and her 3 illegitimate children. Ladies, on behalf of all men, back to the streets with you.
I'll be honest, folks, I have not watched this video in its totality, so I did not know that brother was going to pop up and just drop that on him. But shout out to whoever that is. Who are you? Real estate. I have no idea what that is, but that's hilarious. So yeah, I want to get into, obviously, this first about 15 seconds. That is the mentalities that is being carried around. And I do have to differentiate the two things, right? Because it's easy to just take things on face value, but I got to be honest with the whole conversation. There's one side where it's these women who have now found themselves as being single mothers due to the decisions that they made, laying up with what they call now the wrong man or whatever it is, right? So you have those women who are now looking to shame men into relationships with them, right? That's what oftentimes happens, when people aren't willing to deal with their own shame, to take accountability for their own decisions and the outcomes of their lives. And sometimes those outcomes may create a reality for you where less people are willing to deal with you. It's like, as a man, you commit a crime, you go to prison, you come out, you got that F on your report card, as I like to say, or you got that felony on your record. You probably won't be allowed to get most jobs, at least corporate and things of that nature, unless they have programs or unless you have somebody with just a heart out for inmates and felons. You're likely going to have a harder time because of the decisions that you made. So your prospects are less. And unfortunately, if you view it that way, it's likely the same thing if you are somebody who already has children, especially you got young kids, and now you're trying to get in a relationship. Now, there are plenty of men who will. There are plenty of men who will lay up with you, and that's all they want. But then there are plenty of men who will, but they might not exactly be the man that you are creating in your head. And then you have this thing of, well, but I'm not going to settle. That might not be settling, because again, what are the odds that a man who does not have children wants to be with somebody who already has, right? This isn't me saying good, bad, and different. I'm just saying, what are the odds of that? In few situations is that actually going to be a net positive for that man. In most situations, it's going to be a burden, or it's going to be difficult at some level. Having to deal with somebody who's having to deal with somebody else, i.e. the father of these children, i.e. the children themselves, and now they have to bond to you. And then what happens to that if that relationship breaks up? There's a lot to be factored in. But again, the mentality that the women have taken upon themselves, especially those with more of this, I call the black liberal mind or feminist mind, it's that we are to be worshipped, basically. You know what I mean? You get to take care of me and my kids. Excuse me? Look, I believe in a relationship, if you are with the person you want to be with, you both view each other as a prize. You both view each other as something to be valued, right? So there's the equal yoking right there. If you believe you're too good for somebody and you're with that person, you're like, I'm better than you, or you're in competition with them, you're toxic. You shouldn't be in a relationship to begin with. You need to work on yourself. You need to mature. But if you're in a healthy relationship, you view the other person as your equal. You're different, but equal, right? You're a man, she's a woman, but you're equal. At least that's the relationships that I know. So when you find yourself in this place where, again, putting yourself in the mind frame of the quote unquote single mama, baby mama herself, think about this. I've got 3 children from 3 different men. We're not talking about one, again, ex-husband, tried to make it work for years, had children in the context of that relationship, got out that relationship, and is looking for something serious. We're talking about a woman who laid up with at least 3 different men, unprotected, ended up having the children of those 3 men, is going to forever be tied to those men. And all these children are from different houses. The whole structure is already broken fundamentally. And you're going to act as if that man coming in means something. And this is why, fellas, y'all need to stop putting so much emphasis on looks. Like, I got a beautiful woman in my life, but the beauty that resonates most beyond the physical is who she is. So if she didn't have that, then there wouldn't be a relationship in the same way I believe with myself it probably would be, right? So this woman right here.
If I wouldn't have the 3 baby daddies, I wouldn't have my 3 amazing kids. But
you could actually have 3 amazing kids without 3 baby daddies, by the way. It's actually very possible to have 3 kids with the same individual in a secure household.
for me, you have to accept me as a whole with a 4 unit. So it's either, are you even equipped to hold down this 4 fort?
Are you even equipped? Girl, that's damn near a charity case that man is stepping into. That's a war zone. A man may very well be foolish unless he is in the same situation. If the man is in the same predicament, again, I'm all about equally yoked. I'm all about equally balanced, right? Are you coming from the same place? Is there no hypocrisy in the way that you're moving? So if he has 3 kids out of 3 baby mamas, you got 3 kids out of 3 baby dads, that's fair. That makes sense. But there will be fellas who see this and they see, oh, well, she looks pretty. She's got this and this going on physically. What does that mean? What does that mean? This is what happens as a result of the worshiping of broken homes. Because that's what it is when they are promoting single motherhood. There are women who are growing up today who say, I just want to get a donor. I don't even want to deal with the man. I just wanted to, not even getting to the prospect of maybe having a relationship. They're so hopeless in their belief system that to hell with the man. I mean, you're 16 years old talking about, I don't want to have a husband. I'll just have my baby. So you want to start off dysfunctional. You want to start the child off at a deficit. Contrary to what you might be hearing from many of the left and in a lot of these, liberal progressive ideologies, the nuclear family is the most powerful basis for a child to be raised. It's called nuclear for a reason. It is the epicenter of all of civilization, culture, society, neighborhood, etc. Mother, father, children. Not mother, 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 father. Not mother, mother, father, father. Mother, father, children under the basis of that. That's always been the best case scenario. Again, I found myself in divorce. I did. Okay. If it was valid, absolutely, I give it to you. Infidelity, abuse, things of that nature, absolutely, I give it to you. All this while I wasn't happy anymore. I just wasn't. You shouldn't have been in a relationship to begin with. If you're looking for your happiness from somebody else, you still need to reevaluate your life, right? People are not products to be purchased. They're humans to be experienced. So, yeah. The worshiping of the single mother is detrimental to the very people who think it's serving them. She's never going to get what she actually wants. And again, due to her own now haughtiness or pride, now and I know there's some insecurity that is pushing that, like, disguise that she has on of like, I'm all that, but she will end up in a situation where she is either believing she's too good for the man she's with, aka the man she actually is quote unquote qualified for, or she finds herself in a situation where she now has a fourth man on that list. Because the amount of men who actually will get into that situation with her, a relationship and care and love for her and whatever it is, that man is, he either doesn't have much respect for himself. Again, to be very, very honest, right? He sees you as some sort of goddess, or he is a man in the very same circumstances himself. Other than that, he's looking for cheeks. That's just the God honest truth. So, the preventative measure, don't become a baby mama, and don't become a baby mama of 1, 2, 3. No, that's a preventative. If you're already there, know that the people who actually are going to deal with you in a serious manner, if you actually are serious, because your actions show you're not serious, right? You got 3 proofing cases that you're not really serious. You can make any excuses. I didn't know myself, didn't know my worth, etc. Actions still are going to speak louder than words. So a man who's willing to give a chance and opportunity to that, again, he's going to be a different kind of guy. He's not going to be Mr., baller, 6 figures, 6 pack, 6 feet, 6. It's not going to be any of that. You're lucky to get yourself a man who is making low minimum wage and, just scraping by, willing to step into your life and actually add to the household and pay for the kids that are not his. That's going to be a blessing for you, let alone from 3 different men that you're still going to have to be engaged with. She's young. I know the kids are young. So we got to take this single motherhood off a pedestal and put parents, father, mother back on that pedestal. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know that time is taking. A 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.